You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly.
I look forward to allowing Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Karoline, Leavitt, and all the rest of the ghouls in the Trump administration, allowing them to determine, who are the really, really dangerous criminals. Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. President Trump and his ICE thugs' illegal kidnappings of American citizens is continuing. In this case, an American citizen was wrongfully detained for 10 days in Arizona. At the same time, Palantir, that's the spooky surveillance state company founded by tech feudalist billionaire vampire Peter Thiel, is helping ICE widen the net to deport more people in America. From what it seems, American citizens, probably. Let me start with the just alarming case of this American citizen detained for 10 days in Arizona. Immigration officials in Tucson arrested the 19-year-old man from Albuquerque on April 8th, saying he had entered the country illegally before a judge dismissed the case on the 17th. 19-year-old Jose Hermosillo, who was visiting Tucson from Albuquerque, New Mexico, says he was lost and walking near the Border Patrol headquarters when an agent arrested him for illegally entering the country. Hermosillo was not carrying identification. Court documents say a Border Patrol agent arrested Hermosillo, quote, at or near Nogales, Arizona, without proper immigration documents, and that Hermosillo admitted to illegally entering the U.S. Hermosillo and his girlfriend, who have a 9-month-old child together, live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and are visiting family in Tucson. He says he has never been to Nogales. His girlfriend's aunt, Grace Lavia, says she and her family made numerous calls looking for him before they found out he was being detained in the Florence Correctional Center, which Immigrations and Customs Enforcement uses to detain people. Another family member drove to the detention center about 70 miles northwest of Tucson, but said officials wouldn't provide any information or release him. ICE didn't respond to requests for comment. The family later provided officials with his birth certificate and social security card. Quote, he did say he was a U.S. citizen, but they didn't believe him, his aunt said. I think they would have kept him. I think they would have if they would have not got that information yesterday in the court and gave that to ICE and the Border Patrol. He probably would have been deported already to Mexico. I think that's a very important point because here you have very clearly ICE is just lying to justify why they snagged them in the first place. Why would someone born in America say to ICE, I'm here illegally? Why would somebody, even if they weren't born in America, just volunteer to ICE or, yep, you got me, I'm here undocumented? Neither makes sense. So ICE is wrongly, because the Trump administration and ICE's insane deportation, if you even want to call it a program, is so haphazard, is so without any precision, precise information. They're just wrongly snaring up all sorts of people, including American citizens. When you do it that way, and then you are caught as fucking up, you're going to lie and say, well, they told us they're here illegally. Of course they didn't say he was here illegally. A magistrate judge in Tucson dismissed his case on Thursday, and his family says he was released much later that night. There have been other recent cases of U.S. citizens being wrongly detained by immigration officials, including a man wrongly held in Florida. We'll get to that in a minute. I mean, just imagine you're an American citizen. You have a 9-month-old child. You are visiting family from New Mexico. You're visiting family in Arizona. You're out and about, and you get lost, and you get snagged up by ICE. I got news for you. If I was, hiking, if I forgot my wallet or something like that near a border and I ran into ICE, you think they're going to wrongly detain me? You think they're going to just assume I'm here illegally? What's the difference between me and this gentleman? I don't need to tell you. This is just beyond bigoted and insane because they are wrongly detaining American citizens, just like, as I reported weeks ago, they've wrongly detained Native Americans who are more American than me, than you, than any of these ICE agents, certainly than Donald Trump, because they can't, I guess, distinguish between Native Americans and Mexicans. Not that it's okay what they're doing to Mexicans, but you get my point. Let me give you a little bit more on this specific wrongful deportation or attempted deportation. Hermosillo's wrongful arrest and prolonged detention comes amid escalating attacks by the Trump administration on immigrants in the U.S. Since Trump took office, the administration has emboldened immigration officers to arrest and deport undocumented people, including foreign students whose visas have been revoked, leading to a series of errors. Quote, under the Trump administration's theory of the law, the government could have banished this U.S. citizen to a Salvadoran prison, should say Salvadoran death camp, because that's essentially what it is, then refused to do anything to bring him back. Mark Joseph Stern, a legal analyst for Slate, wrote on Blue Sky, quote, this is why the Constitution guarantees due process to all. Could it be more obvious? And as I've been saying, you think this is going to stop at U.S. citizens that are brown? You think that under, the Trump administration, if the Supreme Court or some court doesn't actually put some teeth behind their decisions, start holding some Trump administration officials in contempt and throwing them in jail? Because if you hold me or an average citizen in contempt, you're locked up. Yet Trump administration, they were held in contempt. Nobody's locked up from the Trump DOJ for blowing off a district judge, James Boasberg, and blowing off the Supreme Court, who ruled you must facilitate the return of Kilma Abrego Garcia. So you think this is going to stop at, wrongfully detaining American citizens that are brown? What about climate protesters? What about healthcare protesters? What about Stop the Genocide protesters? This is only just beginning, folks. Let me tell you the details on another American citizen who was wrongfully detained. Fortunately, this one way less than 10 days, but still wrong. Man detained in Florida on immigration hold despite being citizen. Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez spent the night in county jail and was released after more than 24 hours. Florida authorities detained a U.S.-born citizen on the charge of entering the state as a, quote, unauthorized alien, forcing him to spend more than 24 hours in county jail on an immigration hold, despite the man having proof of his citizenship through his birth certificate and social security card. His attorney and an advocacy group said Friday. Juan Carlos Lopez Gomez was arrested by Florida Highway Patrol on Wednesday when a trooper pulled over the car he was a passenger in for speeding. His attorney, Matake Akbar, told the Washington Post. Florida Highway Patrol said Lopez Gomez told its troopers he was in the country illegally. The agency said ICE had placed a detainer on him, which the Leon County Sheriff's Office also said. Lopez Gomez was arrested and booked into Leon County Jail. Akbar disputed that Lopez Gomez would have said he was in the country illegally because he is a citizen. Here's another case. ICE just making it up. They're wrongfully snagging American citizens, either because they look brown, either because their English is broken, which in this case, this gentleman didn't have great English. And then they say, well, he told us he was here illegally. Why would someone born in America tell you they're here undocumented? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't pass the spell test whatsoever. Thomas Kennedy, a policy analyst for the Florida Immigration Coalition who worked with Lopez Gomez's mother during his detention, said in an interview that Lopez Gomez has trouble communicating in English. His first language is Tostil, a Mayan dialect. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Lopez Gomez was born in Georgia, Kennedy said, moving to Mexico when he was 1 and returning to Georgia only recently. He had been riding with 2 other men to a construction worksite in Tallahassee at the time of his arrest, Kennedy added. ICE did not respond to an overnight request for comment. Akbar and Kennedy said Lopez Gomez was arrested under a law that was signed by Governor DeSantis in Florida, but was temporarily blocked this month in federal court. The law, known as Senate Bill 4C or SB 4C, penalizes, quote, unauthorized aliens aged 18 or over who, quote, who knowingly enter or attempt to enter the state of Florida with mandatory incarceration. Madness madness, inhumanity, derangement. This is deranged. And by the way, what Trump is doing, I don't know anyone, maybe some of the Trumpers, but I don't know any independents that the reason they voted for Trump was for this. They voted for Trump because, in my view, wrongly, they believed, prices were lower under him. I might not like his style. I might not like his morality. Prices are too high. Well, you seen prices recently? We're now almost 100 days into this administration. Prices are still very high at the grocery store, utilities, housing. With them gutting the federal government, there are, crazy delays going on all across the country. Let me just show you the line here at an airport. It's insane just to drop off your bags. This is because the Trump administration and Emperor Musk has gutted the federal government, including airport workers. Look at this.
Yeah, good. Very nice. That's over there. Yes, sir.
You would have to get to the airport like 5 hours early just to make a flight with these kind of delays. But Trump is trying to distract you from what's actually going on by this deportation madness, which doesn't lower grocery prices, which doesn't lower housing prices, doesn't lower the cost of healthcare, doesn't do anything other than play to the cult. What else can you say? And they're also not hiding it. We got the tape last week of Trump with the, authoritarian president of El Salvador.
The president has discussed this idea quite a few times publicly. He's also discussed it privately. You're referring to the president's idea for American citizens to potentially be deported. These would be heinous, violent criminals who have broken our nation's laws repeatedly. These are violent repeat offenders in American streets. The president has said if it's legal, right? If there is a legal pathway to do that, he's not sure.
I look forward to allowing Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Karoline, Leavitt, and all the rest of the ghouls in the Trump administration, allowing them to determine, who are the really, really dangerous criminals. Because I'm gonna venture to guess they're gonna group in climate protesters opposing fossil fuel projects. They're gonna group in American citizens protesting against a U.S.-funded genocide in Gaza and wherever else we help commit genocide over the next few years. They're going to group in healthcare protesters. They're going to group in people who might go out in support of alleged United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione, and anyone else who's against war or oppressive capitalism. This is how dictatorships and authoritarian regimes begin, when there are no checks and balances, and the emperor, i.e. Trump, basically gets to do whatever he wants and decide the law. This is very, very scary stuff. There was one Republican, at least, over the weekend who sort of spoke out against what Trump is doing. We'll see how quickly Trump announces and Musk announces a primary against this senator, but this is Senator John Kennedy, kind of kooky most of the time, but in this case, actually did the right thing.
Let me ask you about something else President Trump said this week. He said he would like to send what he called, and I'm quoting him, homegrown criminals, meaning U.S. citizens, to foreign prisons like the one in El Salvador. Senator, do you think the law allows the President of the United States to send U.S. citizens to a foreign prison?
No, ma'am. Nor should it be considered appropriate or moral. We have our own laws. We have the 8th Amendment to the Constitution. We shouldn't send prisoners to foreign countries, in my judgment.
Thank you, sir, for saying this on TV news. Maybe you could, I don't know, hold a press conference, corral other spineless Republicans to actually speak out against this 1984 Orwellian insanity. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely nuts. And by the way, there's stuff happening in the background right now that is going to make this a lot worse. Emperor Musk and his Doge boys. This is from Wired. Headline: Doge is building a master database to surveil and track immigrants. What could go wrong? And then you have Palantir. That's Peter Thiel, the awkward, borderline psychopath billionaire. He's one of the PayPal mafia, founder of Palantir that has helped the NSA spy on Americans. Apparently, Palantir is planning to help ICE deport people. We'll read some of this. Palantir, the surveillance giant, is taking on an increased role with ICE, including finding the physical location of people who are marked for deportation, according to Palantir Slacks and other internal messages obtained by 404 Media. The leak shows that Palantir's work with ICE includes producing leads for law enforcement to find people to deport and keeping track of the logistics of Trump's mass deportation effort, and provides concrete insight into the Trump administration's wish to leverage data to enforce its immigration agenda. The internal communications also show Palantir leadership preparing for potential backlash from its own employees or outsiders, with them writing facts and questions that could be sent to friends or family that start to ask about Palantir's work with ICE. Quote, "Hey all, wanted to provide a quick update on our work with ICE. Akash Jain, the chief technology officer for Palantir, wrote in Slack, quote, over the last few weeks, we prototyped a new set of data integrations and workflows with ICE." So essentially, if you ask me what this means, there are not enough illegal immigrants in America to meet the quota or thirst of President Trump for how many immigrants he has told his ICE thugs to deport. So then you have to widen the scope, widen the net to go after Americans. So how do you do that? You enlist Peter Thiel's Palantir, who again has helped the NSA illegally spy on Americans. I mean, anything associated with Palantir is not good. I mean, what else could you say other than right now, this flood the zone strategy by Trump has really left many Americans, even American citizens, horrified, petrified, and obviously worse for undocumented immigrants. But you have to try at the same time when you're dealing with the crazy flood the zone insanity now to look ahead. And unfortunately, when you look ahead, the only thing that all of this seems to foreshadow is a crackdown on Americans' freedom of speech and trying to round up Americans. I mean, we saw this to a lesser degree before Trump. Under the Biden administration, you had Americans being rounded up and charged with domestic terrorism who were peacefully protesting at Cop City, the militarized police compound that was being built in Georgia. You've had Americans wrongly charged with terrorism elsewhere. But this takes it to a whole nother step. This takes it to a whole nother level. We'll stay on this. If you yourself or you know someone who has been wrongly detained, please reach out to us. info@statuscoup.com. We could keep you anonymous if need be. That's info@statuscoup.com. And please support our independent on-the-ground journalism. For as low as $5 a month, we're currently working on a plan for our next on-the-ground reporting trip.